Hello and welcome to the Reading Cave. Today we have the best of our entitled parents. But before we get started, please subscribe to our channel to keep delivering the best stories. I don't owe your daughter my things. So a little backstory. I, female, 20, live with my boyfriend, male, 23, at his mother's house because I got kicked out and we couldn't get an apartment with our no credit at the time. His mother is a whole other ball of wax. This story is about his sister. His sister has a 5-year-old. She acts like a 3-year-old and has been poorly raised, and it's quite obvious. She is always over, so I get to see firsthand how this mother chooses to raise her kid. It's mostly I'm gonna watch whatever I wanna do and you need to go into the other room and bother someone else because I don't wanna deal with it. My boyfriend cleaned out our car and put the speech hat in the garage because he was in a hurry. Little girl went into garage and saw the hat and wanted to play with it. So my boyfriend's dad asked if she could. I said for the day I didn't care, but I would be putting it in my closet soon because I need it for the summer and I don't want it broken. She ruins everything, so she plays with it. I thought it was cute, she likes it so much. However, she ripped a part of it. I understood because she's a kid, however, to keep it from getting more damage, when she went home I snuck it back into my room. The next day I get an angry mother knocking on my bedroom door, saying how dare I take the hat back and that if I'm not using it I owe it to her daughter to let her play with it. I simply laughed and said that I don't owe her a thing and that I won't be letting her play with it again since she ripped the corner of it. Her mom went nuts talking about how rude I am for stealing her daughter's childhood over a hat. I told her to go buy one for her then, and of course she says, "You need to buy her one. Since you are the one who is taking it away from her, you owe her another." I laughed again and told her that I would not be buying a hat for her daughter and that I don't owe either of them anything. I can't believe that over something so small she is freaking out. It's my stuff at the end of the day. I don't care or like that little girl, and neither does my boyfriend. We only deal with her because we live there. The fact that over something so small means that I am ruining this little girl's childhood, well, that sucks. I don't want my stuff ruined. I don't need to have my stuff ruined just because she wants to play with it. This hat was handmade by my grandmother. I can't just go get another one. People appall me. Entitled Parent lies about corona symptoms to get an extra plane seat. I've been on a terribly timed holiday to the UK since the beginning of March, and returned today to my home city. Understandably, there's loads of people wearing masks, warnings everywhere, and people trying to distance themselves and wary of others. It's not quite full-blown panic, but people are very wary. I even saw several travelers in full hazmat-type cotton suits and eye goggles and masks and gloves. Anyway, my last leg of my flight, I was assigned a window seat in a 3-seat row. I get there and there's a lady and a small girl that looks about 5 to 6 years old, both with masks on. As soon as I gesture to sit, the mum pipes up and says, "Oh, I just want you to know we both have a cough, so you probably want to sit somewhere else. I've already talked to the crew." The crew member then passes and I ask if they have a seat, and she says to first have a seat in my original seat and wait until everyone has boarded. I then offer to sit in the aisle seat for the moment so that if I move it's easy. The mum keeps saying, "Oh yeah, but I just thought you should move. I really think you'd be more comfortable." So I sit for the moment because there's people still boarding and putting bags up, etc., etc. Now unfortunately the flight ends up being delayed about an hour and a half due to some passengers being offloaded due to temperature screening. During this waiting time I sort of look around to see what other seats are available. It looks like a pretty full flight, but there are a couple of empty seats, but we don't know who else is getting on still. I'm also feeling a bit conflicted. It's a very long 13-hour flight and I don't want to move to a crappy seat stuck between two strangers or something. But I also want to be careful and avoid people with symptoms. Now during this waiting time the mum and daughter keep whispering to each other and really often coughing, with masks on, conspicuously and painfully. Happily, the crew member comes back and says I have a window seat in the front row with more legroom and an empty seat next to me as well. Lovely. Usually you need to pay more for those. So I move. Then later I pass the mum and daughter again, and guess what? Neither wearing masks, looking happy and healthy and comfortable with an empty seat next to them. The little girl probably got to lie down and sleep. Now I don't begrudge the girl having a nice rest on what is a very tiring long flight. She was a very well behaved girl as well. What makes me really furious is that either A, they had such severe symptoms, which they demonstrated conspicuously when trying to convince me to move, and took off their masks. B, the mum lied about having symptoms and took advantage of the pandemic and the global fear to get themselves an extra empty seat. Seriously. Off you entitled B. If she just asked nicely and told the truth, I would have moved anyway because there was a nicer seat available. But what if there wasn't? I might have made the decision to move to a worse seat because she scared me into thinking they might be contagious. Scum. Edit. Since people keep mentioning it. She actually flagged down a crew member and said, "This is the lady I was talking to you about earlier," so it seemed she had already said something like, "I have a cough, so could you move the person sitting next to us?" And the same crew member came back and took me to my new seat, so as far as I'm aware, they knew this person had a cough but chose to let her fly. At the moment I don't know that airlines would force passengers out for every symptom. I mean, if you had a cough because you just had a cold, or an allergy, and they pulled you off what could have been the last possible flight home, it very well could be at the moment, you'd be pretty upset. Plus it is winter in the UK, so plenty of people do have a bit of a cough or runny nose, or might sneeze. Do they pull every single person off? I reckon they'd have to pull out 20 to 30% off every flight. It only create more chaos, more crowding, more unhappy travelers stuck. Entitled Mother Leaves Child on My Doorstep. I work in a preschool and sometimes babysit kids from work, especially when we are on break. Because of coronavirus, we are cancelled. Because my sister has a disability and is immunocompromised, my whole family agreed to go into self-isolation. Thankfully most of us can work from home. We would limit our contact with all others, even other family members, to protect my sister. I was playing outside in the driveway with my brothers, when a familiar car pulls up, and one of the little girls, let's call her Susie, from the preschool gets out of the car. I have babysat her many times before, but never agreed to on this occasion. I assumed the mom was going to ask me to watch her, but when I approach the car, she speeds off, leaving poor Susie there. I had not made any previous arrangements to watch her, and didn't want to let her into my house, knowing her father is a frequent flyer and Susie may be a carrier. I got her some water and let her sit down in the garage to get her out of the wind as I tried calling her mom and dad. Neither picked up at first, until I finally got a hold of a very angry mom. I explained I couldn't watch Susie, and she would have to come back and pick her up. The mom freaked out, saying she was already at work. This is a total lie. She works at a mall, that I know for a fact is closed because of coronavirus. I tell her that if she doesn't return within a half hour, how far the mall is from my house, I would be calling CPS. She knows we are mandatory reporters because we already had to open a case on her. She explains that she can't but says she will send her husband. 15 minutes passes, and then 30. I get Susie some chalk to color with while maintaining a distance but trying to keep her happy. An hour later, I know no one is coming to get her. I phone CPS and the non-emergency police line, and police arrive at my house in a couple minutes. I explain to them the whole situation, and thankfully a CPS worker is able to get there pretty quickly. The mom phones me later and yells at me for Susie being taken by CPS and them having another investigation, saying I always watch Susie during break. I explain my immunocompromised sister, and she is very offended. I even suggested Susie might be sick. I didn't even bother to explain how she could be a carrier without showing symptoms. Entitled mother claims she won't be returning Susie to our preschool because of my appalling and disrespectful behavior, but I know that she has been kicked out of all the other preschools. I wouldn't mind if entitled mother never came back, but I would certainly feel bad for little Susie. I'm already infected so I can go out? I can't believe people like this exist. Just going to say, some people told me I should have called the cops, but just wanna make it clear that this was in Brazil, my home country, and they are not at that level of protection yet with these things. Cast, me as me, EM as entitled mother, K as normal kid, ED as entitled dad. I already posted a story here. I actually had many entitled encounters. This was at around the middle of the corona outbreak, but the streets were still full. So I was minding my own business, doing some shopping and enjoying the last few days I had of peace before I become a mother. When I entered a section of the store, I see a man approach and get uncomfortably close to me, kinda pushing me to the side. I move away from him and try to continue my shopping. But he kept coming closer, kinda weird at this point. I eventually asked him to move away and that I needed personal space. I believe he got the wrong message across because later his wife came up to me. EM, what did you tell my husband? Me, excuse me. EM, I know you told him something. Me, who are you talking about? EM, apparently, you shoved him away when he was just standing there minding his own business. Me, I asked him to move away just because I needed personal space. We were way too close, and with the coronavirus going around I'm now extra careful. Are you saying I have the coronavirus? At this point we're already causing a scene. Me, no I am not. Anyone who had the virus would have common sense and stay at home. But I just want to be extra careful. At this point, K comes in. K, Mom, can we go now? His eyes were red and he sounded like he had a cold. EM, okay sweetie, it's just that this woman thinks just because you have the coronavirus you have to stay home. Me, wait, he has the coronavirus? At this point I was really confused. But nothing surprised me more than what she said next. EM, all of our family does, which means we can go outside. Me, wait, what? EM, yes, now that we already have it there are no dangers outside for us. Me, but you know that you're endangering other people? EM, other people don't matter, I had to do my shopping. Me, hey, please leave or I'll call security. She walked away towards the main entrance, but not 5 minutes later I see her again, this time shouting at another person. EM, let me through. Turns out one of the people who witnessed our fight called security and were trying to get her out of there, but she refused and was causing a scene. I just walked past them awkwardly and made my way home. Entitled mother steals paracetamol out of my trolley. So in the midst of a global pandemic I managed to break my foot. So they put me in one of those walker boots so I'm not completely one-legged. Me and my partner decided to get some bits from the shop tonight. We certainly weren't panic buying but did buy some stuff extra so we could double up when we're cooking to freeze. I was leaning on the trolley a lot for support and my partner was walking back and forth to certain aisles and leaving me to get some bits without making me walk too far. It's quite obvious I'm wearing the boot as in the middle of winter I'm wearing a dress because I have no trousers I can comfortably wear with it on. Obviously with a broken foot I am in a slight bit of pain, and although I've been looking for painkillers most seem to be sold out. But I went for a hunt and managed to find 2 packs left in the shop. I didn't notice the entitled mother behind me at first, but I carried on limping away when I heard someone clearing their throat a bit too obnoxiously. I turned around and smiled at her. She very typically Karen, and she had entitled kids with her around 6/7 and one about 10/11, and she was properly giving me the stink eye. Excuse me, can I have that paracetamol? Me, oh I mean sure you can have this one. I handed her 1 pack. And me, I'm sorry. I can see you have another pocket. Me, bewildered, yes? Well, are you not going to give it to me? At this point I gestured down to my leg. I'm really sorry, I'm in quite a bit of pain with my leg at the moment and I need the painkillers. Well, that's not my problem, you should have been more careful. I have 2 kids, I need to make sure they're okay if they get this virus. I'm sure 1 pack will do for now if they're okay, I'm sorry but I am going to buy these. Scoffs, I can't believe you won't even help out to kids. I'm sorry but I'm going to go. I limped along down the aisle when the older of the entitled kids ran in front of my trolley, stopping me dead, and the younger one went into my trolley and grabbed my packet of paracetamol. Then both ran off back to the mum. I turned around and she just smirked at me and walked off. My partner came back at this point and I told them what had happened. He was just as pissed off as me, but there wasn't much we could do about it at the time. As we went to the checkout, I noticed the entitled mother unpacking her shopping cart. She didn't notice me and I saw the paracetamol just on the checkout line, so I reached across and grabbed both, hid behind my partner and limped off to another line. I was watching her to see her reaction, and as she got to where the paracetamol should be, she looked down, looked on the line and then looked up, utterly confused. That's when she spotted me. I held up the packets and smirked back. We paid and walked out, so we didn't see the aftermath, but it did give me a lot of satisfaction seeing the utter grimace across her face. Please subscribe to the channel and activate the notifications. Also leave a like if you enjoyed this video or a dislike if you hated it. Comment down below your entitled parents' experiences.